So today we're going to dig into a really counterintuitive idea, why the responsible act of saving might not be the path to true financial security. And just to be clear, this isn't financial advice. Think of this as an exploration of financial behavior. Financial behavior physics, really. We're looking at the hidden forces that shape our outcomes.
It's a strange paradox when you think about it, right? You see people who earn good money, they save diligently, they do everything they're supposed to do, yet they seem to stay financially fragile or just stuck. And at the same time, you see others who just seem to pull ahead over time, sometimes with less obvious effort. So what's really going on here? That's the core question we're tackling.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with something called the preservation trap. Then we'll look at how that pattern shows up in the real world. We'll dive into the physics of why it happens, calculate the true price of inactivity, explore a different way of thinking, and then wrap up with 3 critical questions for you to think about. Okay, let's jump right in. This first section covers the most important signal, the one that really forms the basis of what we can call the preservation trap. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what saving is actually for. So here's the signal, laid out plain and simple. Saving, at its heart, is a defensive move. It's about holding your ground, stopping a decline, preventing loss. It is not, by its very nature, an act designed to create growth. We're often taught to see preservation as a form of progress, but they are fundamentally different functions. And this chart just brings that difference into sharp focus. On the left, you've got preservation. It's about stopping decline, preventing loss. It's static. On the right, multiplication. This is about driving growth, creating upside. It's dynamic. The real trap is mistaking one for the other. It's like trying to win a championship by only playing defense. It just doesn't work. Okay, so how does this preservation trap actually show up in the real world? This isn't just some abstract theory. It's a pattern you can see pretty clearly once you know what to look for. You see this pattern everywhere. You'll see it in high-income earners who are sitting on a mountain of cash thinking it's the ultimate safe move. You see it in households that have really high savings rates, but when you look at their net worth over 5-10 years, it's just flat. And you definitely see it in disciplined people who mistake that feeling of stability for actual forward momentum. So why does this happen? What are the underlying mechanics at play? Well, there are these 2 really powerful, kind of invisible forces working against you. One is internal, happening inside our own heads, and the other is external, happening out in the world. The internal force is a cognitive bias called loss aversion. What this means is that our brains are basically hardwired to feel the sting of a loss about twice as intensely as we feel the pleasure of an equivalent gain. And what this does is it makes the safe option of just holding on to your money feel so much more responsible than taking a calculated risk for growth. And then there's the external force, purchasing power. This one is sneaky. The number in your bank account might look the same, but its real value, what you can actually buy with it, is constantly changing. This is that invisible value that inflation just silently eats away at day after day, year after year. And this chart, well, it makes it painfully clear. Take $100,000. If you just let it sit doing nothing, in a single decade, assuming a pretty standard 3% average inflation, it's lost over a quarter of its actual buying power. The number on the statement hasn't changed, but its power in the real world has taken a massive hit. And this quote just nails it. The danger isn't a dramatic, sudden event you see on the news. It's not a lightning strike. It's corrosive. It's like rust, just slowly, quietly eating away at the value of your idle capital. So when you misunderstand this system of quiet decay, the long-term costs is, well, it's massive. It compounds. Let's really look at what the price of inactivity, of just standing still, really is. This timeline tells the whole story. Imagine 2 people, right? Person A is our diligent saver. Person B is what we'll call a deployer. They're focused on putting their capital to work. In year 1, they're at the same spot. By year 5, you start to see a little gap. Person A's real value is kind of flatlining. Person B's has started to grow. Fast forward to year 10, that gap is significant. And by year 20, it's not a gap anymore, it's a chasm. Person B's net worth has compounded dramatically, while person A has basically stood still, or even gone backwards in real terms. That is the hidden cost of inactivity. So what's the alternative here? The answer isn't a specific stock tip or a magic formula. It's a completely different way of thinking.
It's about seeing the world in systems and really understanding how risk and time actually work. Look at this comparison. The saver's mindset is all about avoiding short-term volatility. Their goal is preservation. Why? Because doing nothing feels safe. But the resilient mindset, it's focused on avoiding long-term fragility. The goal isn't preservation, it's deployment. They see that in a system with inflation, inactivity isn't safety, it's a guaranteed liability. It's a total reframing of what risk and safety even mean. And this is the bottom line. It's so simple, but so powerful. Money that does nothing slowly disappears. Capital that isn't deployed, that isn't put to work, it isn't just standing still, it's on a slow but absolutely inevitable path to losing its value.
All right, we've looked at the signal, the pattern, and the physics behind it. To bring this all home, we're not going to end with answers or a to-do list. We're going to end with 3 critical questions designed to make you reflect on your own financial behavior.
First up, what is your money doing right now? Seriously, is it static, just sitting there in a state of preservation? Or is it dynamic, out in the world, deployed? Is it active or is it idle? Second question, where is your value leaking? Think about those invisible, corrosive forces we talked about. Is it inflation? Is it the opportunity cost of having capital just sitting on the sidelines? Where are the silent drains in your own system?
And finally, maybe the most direct question of them all. What is sitting still? Just think about it. In your entire financial picture, what capital, what asset is simply waiting? Because being able to answer that question is the very first step to understanding the profound difference between just preserving what you have and creating genuine, lasting growth.